Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Epstein, and today I'm going to introduce you to the very real world of dreams. How to read your dreams, this book of life, and what it reveals to you about your life. Amongst the most cogent pieces of information that I'm about to share with you today are what qualities of yourself are most significant to address at this time that the dream is showing you. How free or enslaved are you, dependent or independent are you now? The dreams reveal that. What possibilities are available to you for fulfillment? What's going on in your body? You may see where a potential ailment is readying to make its appearance. Usually, ailments that are going to take place appear in dreams at some time before, even weeks before they come out and express themselves. Answers to questions you're experiencing as current, quote, problems. A gauge as to how well you're progressing or healing in your life situation. Portents of the future, that is, what's coming for you or others. And lastly, an analogy that the dreams reveal to your everyday waking life experience. Since you're the dreamer, you are in the dream reality experiencing some event or situation which has its analogy as you, as the waking life person, is going through in your everyday experience. So they are reflecting each other and revealing each other. Dreams have to do with the image in the Western spiritual tradition. I'm speaking to you about the Western spiritual tradition as it applies to dream reading. The image is the inner language, the true language of mind. So this is an inner, esoteric language, as opposed to the outer, exoteric language that we're communicating in right now. The language of communication between ourselves in this time-space world. The imagination, however, has the function of delving into that inner language and making access to it. The dream, of course, is an image language, and as such is an inner language in the same mode as imagination is. We have to understand this inner language as a hieroglyph. In that, it's a language that is completely revelatory. Like the Egyptian hieroglyphs, it's structured in a pictorial way and gives you all the knowledge about yourself at that moment in your life in a language that we haven't been trained to read. So, my job, and one of the things I do in my own clinical work and in the classes that I give here in New York City, is that I give you a instruction about how to read this inner language or your book of life. So my job is to be an educator. As you probably are aware, in the ancient days, in the days of the West before 1650 to 1700, the approximate cutoff date between what's the current age of modern medicine and modern science and the older times that were more spiritualized medicine and science, which we have lost, I'm making an attempt at reestablishing the connection or the discontinuity that occurred at that point over 400 years ago, the discontinuity that created a rupture between this ancient understanding and our current life situation, our current life experience. And so the cutoff came with an interesting time period that was ironically called the Age of Enlightenment. And the Age of Enlightenment put a dimmer light on the non-rational functions of the mind. Non-rational meaning imagery and dreams and all of these non-rational functions, the functions that happen not by syllogistic cause and effect logic. So the Age of Enlightenment really meant propelling the rational mind into the forefront and into the ascendancy, while dreaming was put into a dim light of the non-rational mind. The non-rational mind is the subjective mind. That is the mind that thinks in pictures. In ancient times, the main function of the doctor was to be a teacher and a healer. These two functions were combined so that there was no healing really without education, and there really can't be any healing without education. We're here to do no harm, and in that context, we currently want to educate everyone as to how you can take responsibility for your own life situation and your own experiences, what you can do to handle your daily life. And so my work is really geared toward teaching you how to handle your own experiences, what to do with them so that you don't need me and you don't need any helpers, that you essentially become your own authority and your own helper. What I do is share with you what I know, and as such, I give you what I understand and have gained through my own wisdom and exploration, and whatever you get from that, you use to help yourself, whether you choose whatever you choose to use or not use as you see fit. You're your own helper, and becoming your own authority and helper, you then find your own way and direction for your own healing, or coming together, or becoming whole, without becoming dependent on others, and consequently, as you become that way, you become independent and self-authoritative, and become really your own self-empowered, powerful individual that you're meant to be. So we'll go through some experiences about dreams in a couple of different ways. The aim is for you to help yourself, not rely on supposed outside authorities to interpret your dreams or to tell you what they mean, or to look to dream books to provide you with pat answers about what the symbols of your dreams mean. Remember, I said that we're learning to read our dreams, not to interpret or analyze them. It's your book of life that you open up, that's been opened to you rather, and that you look into it and learn to read what is being revealed there. You really can do your own dream reading by learning to read this image language. It's analogous to learning Greek or French or Spanish or any other language that you would care to investigate, the difference being that this is one that doesn't appear to you in words. So I want to give you some entree into understanding this language so that you can provide your own self-knowing, become your own dream reader, and find the way to understand the revelations that they're providing for you. Their message is coming to you from another reality. You're entering into that dream reality when you go to sleep and turn your senses inward, shutting out the external world altogether, and you enter into another realm of existence called the dream realm. People often ask, how do you remember dreams? People have a tough time remembering them. One of the reasons that they have a hard time is because we've not been taught or haven't been educated to the fact that they're so important in our lives, that they inform our lives, that they give us direction to our lives, that they are the book of knowledge of our lives. So we don't take pains to record them. We don't take pains to write them down. I recommend that if you have an inclination, keep a dream journal. Wake up every day and record your dreams in the morning. Don't wake up in the middle of the night, because that would interfere with your natural sleeping rhythm. But if you remember them in the morning, go ahead and record your dreams. You'll see that everything that's happened to you in the year, if you do this in 1 year, has first shown itself clearly in your dreams. You see the chronicle of your life unfold. So an initial step about reading your dreams is making them important. So much so that they have and will come to have great influence in directing your life, in your everyday life circumstance. This was a fundamental error made by Freud, who tried to understand the dreams by the use of logic. Trying to understand a non-logical, non-rational phenomenon by logical means. He said in his Book of Dreams that dreams were fundamentally a psychotic phenomenon, what he called primary process thinking. He used a psychiatric term, even though he himself was not a psychiatrist, that meant psychosis in psychiatric terms. So a person was having a psychotic event in his nighttime experience, and then the idea was to make sense of it. Making sense of it was he called secondary process thinking, which was to apply logical understanding to it, to make it appear rational, to give it a cause and effect, logical and rational meaning, reasoning it so that you can understand the dreams not by its own language that was presenting itself to you, but by a completely different language that was not coherent to dream experience. The dream experience is a hieroglyph. It's telling you exactly what's going on, but in this pictorial way. Freud did this in order to try and find the supposed main point of dreams, which he said was wish fulfillment. But consequently, in trying to do that, Freud disregarded the image, because the image was merely a disguise that was covering some wish that you would get to by using your logical thought, what he called the secondary process thinking. Was his scientific error. The fundamental error in scientific thinking is trying to know the subject as subject by objective means. Freud's main error was a scientific one in which he was trying to and proposing for you as the subject to know yourself as subject by objective means, which is the use of words to explain a phenomenon that's given to you not in words, rather than the subject coming to know himself as subject by subjective means, by a means that was occurring in the inner form of consciousness that you were experiencing. So the subject was using subjective means, which is the image itself, letting it speak to you, finding out what it has to say, rather than you talking to it and about it and using your words to define it, rather than it telling you about you. The subject coming to know himself as subject through subjective means is through these subjective experiences of dream life, imagination, even meditation, and to do so is scientifically sound and consistent. So in remembering dreams, you first have to understand that they're important, they have significance. You need to care about that, and care about that means that you're caring for yourself. Two practical ways that I've found very useful to help you remember your dreams is one, take your special dream notebook, open it up before bed, and on the top of the blank page, write night dream. Put the date, which would be the next morning date. Then open your pen and keep your pen open in the book and leave the book open. Before you go to sleep, give yourself an instruction that you are remembering the dream, and when you get up in the morning that you write it down. Try to phrase what you're saying about this in the present tense. Just give yourself this simple inner silence instruction. Second way I've found very useful is to take vitamin B6, 25 to 50 milligrams a half hour before bedtime. It is, I found, successful in helping you recollect or recall your dream. Why is that? Why would vitamin B6 work? I can only give you my impression of it, my empirical observation. Other than that, all we know is that vitamin B6 is a natural diuretic, and when vitamin B6 gets rid of water, and water may be a substance that clouds dreams, just as it clouds your vision when you're swimming underwater and open your eyes and you can't see very clearly, the water clouds it. It makes things murky and difficult to see. By getting rid of this water, it seems that the drier you are, the more able you are to recollect the dreams. That's my point of view. Whether it's so or not, I leave it up to you to find out for yourself. There are some people who never dream. That is, they don't recall ever dreaming, and that's just the way it is. My experience is that they are ruled essentially by their logic and don't regard dreams as being real or significant. In fact, many people like this see them as crazy. They function in the world by their reason and wherever the logic takes them, so the dream has no relevance to their everyday life situation. It seems insignificant. In the REM studies, that is the rapid eye movement studies and research that's been done, indicating that's when you're dreaming, that if you wake that kind of person up, they don't remember the dreams nor recall having dreamt. They just block it out. So have absolutely no interest. Doesn't mean that they're disturbed. They're not, but that's not a very important element in their life, never has been, and don't regard it as going to give them any kind of significant information about directing their lives. Now, once you're remembering and recording your dreams in your dream notebook, a first step in understanding and grasping the dream for yourself as a person who wants to educate yourself really about them and make them significant in your life and have a meaning for you, is to regard the dreams as real. They're not metaphors. It's a world that you inhabit. You don't create it. You get to it when you fall asleep. No brain creates a dream. No brain in this world has ever created a dream. This is a world you have entered. If you come to me and say, I had a dream that I was walking through Central Park and I met blah, 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 and each and such happened, what's the difference between that and coming and saying to me, on the way to the office, I just walked through Central Park and I met blah, 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 and such happened? What's the real difference? There is no real difference in terms of regarding that situation as real. That dream is equally as valid and phenomenologically real as your waking life experience. You're the one who's experiencing it in these different realms. That goes to say then, not only are dreams real, but any place in which you find yourself in your daily life experience at any moment is real. It can be a hallucinatory reality, it can be a delusional reality, it can be a psychedelic reality, an imaginal reality, a dream reality, a waking life reality, a reverie reality, a memory reality. Wherever you are at that moment, wherever you are addressing your thought process to and your senses to, is where you are. So you would say, to get into this habit of understanding the reality of them, as well as the truth value that they have for you, is to get used to saying, I dreamt last night, but in waking life. Not I dreamt last night, but in real life. No, they're real. Dreams are real. It's a real life experience. Waking life is a real life experience. Hallucinatory reality is a real life experience. All of these realities that I mentioned to you are real life experiences, as real as each other as you experience them. None has any greater validity than any other. So we don't measure the reality and truth of the dream by the yardstick of waking life measurement. That's not the case. Then you're doing yourself a disservice, because simply by saying that, you're demeaning the power and real presence and importance that the dream has for you. Then, another way to understand this that I can share with you is, if you dreamt that you were walking through Central Park and told me that, I would say to you, were you closer to the experience of walking through Central Park, or to the physical experience of lying in the bed? You're going to say to me, because this has happened thousands of times in my own experience working in this way, the individual says, I was closer to the experience of the dream. Where you're closer to is where you are. You're closer to the dream and the experience of the dream than to the physicality of the bed that you're lying in. Divulges for us that you are where your senses have taken you and where you have entered into whatever realm and world that is. So you're closer there, and whatever you're closer to is the reality that you're going through at that moment. If you're closer to the dream experience than to the physicality of the bed, for example, that indicates that you understand that you're more than the physical, that there's something more to your life than just the physical reality of the time-space world. So, recognizing this at first, we find that we are socially nearer to whatever the dream experience reveals to us. We're either close to that experience, we're socially there, we're either close to it or at a distance from it, either in conflict with it or are embracing it. All kinds of things are going on, similarly to what's going on in your everyday life, social experience here in the time-space world. So we can be close to each other in love, close to each other in friendship, be apart from each other, keep a distance, and so on. The same thing goes on there, it goes on here. So the question is, what are you closer to? Where are you connected? And what does this have to reveal to us?